Alright guys, welcome to game number 3 of Vortix versus MMA in the round of 8 here at the VASACAST Invitational. And yep, we have the last and deciding game. We were actually not supposed to really cast this game. It was supposed to be done by other streams that are also in the lobby right now. But our game, Hearthstone versus Major, apparently has to wait for the conclusion of this encounter between the Zerg and the Terran player. Starting to the bottom left, we have Vortix for Team Mousesports here on Yonsu, the final and deciding map between the two of them. And starting to the top right, we have MMA. The player, of course, that could, for Team Acer here, lead another Terran player into the semi-finals. And we're going to find out who's it going to be. As far as I know, Vortix was able to clinch out a victory in map number 1, and MMA, therefore, has won the second map. And now we're going to see who's going to advance here before we then jump into Hearthstone versus Major, another round of 8 match here at the VASACAST Invitational, another best of 3, and then starting in the semi-finals we will have the best of 5 mode. So looking at this, we have MMA starting things off with Gas and Barracks. Gas first here for him wants to be aggressive, whereas on the other hand of the map, on the other side, we have of course Vortix starting things off with his Hatch first. So Vortix here already doing quite a good job against his Terran opponent, at least in the series, but he hasn't done it just yet. He needs to win another map if he really wants to advance. And he would also be like the only Zerg player that would be able to make it through, since we saw the other Zergs just being eliminated a little bit earlier today. Jaedong not able to get past Stardust, the My Insanity player taking him down with the 2-0. Immortals too strong for the Dong. That's at least what happened in this series. And let's see what exactly Vortix can do to change things up maybe a little bit and give us a Zerg player in the semi-finals. Because in the second part of the bracket we currently have 3 Terran players fighting and 1 Protoss player. First Reaper is already on the way. Earlier, by the way, I kind of misspoke. I think I said that there was a Gas first. I highly doubt that, so it was probably Barracks into Gas. And I didn't catch that completely, but a Gas first wouldn't make that much sense here. The Reapers with the normal timing jumping out, and the second one is already being built. So MMA is at least committing to 2 Reapers. Might go up as too many as 3. With the third Reaper, he could really do some damage here if he gets them into position. But for now, actually dodging all of those links. One single hit goes down on the Reaper, and that's it for now. MMA starting his own expansion up back at home, something that the Overlord, of course, saw already. It's still hovering there, trying to get into a better position, and have a quick look over here if the factory is being built, what exactly MMA is up to. And for now, the Terran player is kind of up to a lot of shenanigans, trying to take down those poor drones that can't really... They can't really defend themselves, but they can morph into beautiful extractors and other structures. That's the only way how they can save their tiny ass there. 2 of the Reapers, well, between the Queens, 2 Reapers and 2 Queens. It's not the start of a joke, but the start of a sad story. The third Reaper gonna jump in there as well, but it doesn't really look like the Reapers are gonna get any damage now. Scouting information is kind of the only thing that MMA is currently getting out of those 2 or 3 units. Maybe later he will be able to sneak in, take down a Queen, maybe a Creep Tumor, maybe just being able to kill... Oh, that's the Creep Tumor that I was talking about. Doesn't really get it though, third Reaper not there yet. MMA with a double expand, not going into Banshees, which is kind of the second path that you can go if you really try to make this work. Delay the third base a little bit and go into a more aggressive style with the Banshee play. But that's not what we're seeing from MMA. He wants to have the economy, he goes for the third command center, snipes one of the Creep Tumors, gets another Zergling kill here. With 3 Reapers, definitely a little bit more successful than he was early on. So for now we have at the bottom of the map another Queen being built. Queen count is by now up to 5. Pretty heavy Queen commitment for the defense, and that will also help him against those Reapers and against potential Banshees, also against Hellions. Not the worst thing to have, since you can then wall a little bit better. The drone here desperately trying to get that Roach Warren into place, but the Queens are always blocking the spot. But the main story here is MMA occupying his opponent. That's kind of what he wants to do here. He wants to keep him busy, he wants to take down these Creep Tumors, and he kills actually 2 of the active Creep Tumors. Job well done. With 5 Queens, I don't think that Vortix minds too much. It's always a little bit annoying to lose one, but he should have enough energy between the 5 of them to really get those out onto the map as soon as possible. Roach Warren, Evolution Chamber, and also speed upgrade for the Overlords is being started here yet. And we are gonna jump straight to the top right and check that out for a second. What we currently have is MMA with the Banshee play after all. A little bit delayed though. Trying to go that. So we have currently the Banshee being built without cloak. Without cloak, by the way. And we also have the speed upgrade for the Overlord soon to be done, and that will enable him to get into the base, because right now that Overlord is actually a little bit slow, but gets a quick speed boost, and look at that, he gets all the information that he needs. Knows about the add-ons here, knows about the delayed tech, actually it's probably a fake, into a cloak. Yep, killed it again, so started it and then stopped it. And let's see. So for now we have the Reapers just moving in, trying to do their thing. But yeah, Reapers and Hellions, it's a pretty good hit squad, especially when you are supported by a Banshee as well. That's one of those situations where you just want to take away at the hit points of your opponent and try and do some damage. At the hit points of the queens, of course, so that you can snipe them down, but as I said earlier, with this many queens, it's a little bit iffy for him to really do this. Especially when the roaches join the fight as well and just force everything bad that we have there. So at this point, the drone's already on their way to that third, or at least trying to, maybe a little bit too early. That third is a couple of minutes away from finishing, or at least one. Spore crawlers for the detection being added. It's just like MMA is really trying to be super aggressive here. With this force on the map, you really can do a lot of damage. It's pretty dangerous to face this. If you don't have a good combination set up against this, the Zerg player will lose units. But with Roaches and Triple Queen, he has a pretty nice setup here to stop the Hellion, Reaper and Banshee from taking out too much. And the creep spread is actually quite decent for Vortix. So Vortix is not panicking or anything here. He has still those Overlords in position that he can scout his opponent's main base. He saw that third command center, of course, as well. MMA has a very good saturation there, 53 harvesters against 62. The third base is done for Vortix, but this is just all about just keeping you cool as the Zerg, not losing too much, not allowing the Terran player to get in your head, and Vortix is doing this quite well. Heading, of course, into Ling Muta Baneling. The Spire already started, 1-1 on the way. Same is true for MMA when it comes to the upgrades, they're really very close. One Reaper being kind of sacrificed here to find out what's going on in the main base. And the thing is that he doesn't actually see the Spire. He didn't spot the Spire here. Just gonna double check that, has no idea. But he can of course assume. He saw a few roaches, but they're not too many. Yes, there's the possibility of the Terran player going straight in, the Zerg player going straight into a Roach and Hydra composition. We've seen this more and more often these days. But it's a little bit unlikely with what he has scouted on the map so far. The third base has been started, and MMA actually went for a scout. He scouted that natural because he wasn't quite sure what exactly Vortix was up to, and he saw the Spire. So now he has confirmation, yes, you're going into Ling Muta Baneling. And we also have a fourth base coming up for Vortix. Vortix is really trying to control the bottom of the map as much as he can. Creep tumors everywhere, utilizing those 5 queens to their fullest potential, having the extra energy in there to set just active creep tumor after another up on the map so that he can creep forward. Controls that base over here with the creep spread on the Overlord as well. MMA took another base, so that doesn't really help Vortix too much just yet. But we have even a bunker build, so MMA is very well aware that he's up against a tough opponent. Siege tanks, marines, really good on the defense here, making sure that Vortix can legitimately run in with a couple of mutalisks or Zerglings, Banelings, and then take down the economy. And the Terran player is also very active on the map, trying to force the creep back. It's just Vortix. He's super annoying with this. I mean, he always comes back in with the queens. You can see it here again, drops another set of active creep tumors, gets rid of all of the energy. MMA starts to scan and he pulls them back, but it's always Vortix just going in again. He doesn't lose those queens, and as long as they are alive, he gets those tumors, and then you can see it again. He's pushing his opponent back. MMA desperately trying to keep the creep spread under control. He knows that gives him a huge disadvantage. He doesn't want to fight on creep, but if he wants to get rid of it, he has to use one scan after another, and that's the mule that you're missing out on. So, really good job by Vortix so far. Mutalisks need to be careful though. One goes down. Another base set up at the bottom right of the map, so that's the 5th base for Vortix already. And if you look at the numbers, we are currently looking at 97 army supply for MMA and 72 for Vortix, both heading into +2/+2 upgrades, as you can see here. Scout on the bottom right with a Banshee, trying to take down this base. Upgrades are very much the same. A fight in the middle of the map. Once again, the Mutalisks moving in, trying to take down the Medivacs, but MMA is too fast. Hitting the afterburners and going away with them immediately. Another hit squad moving in, and this time finally one of those queens is taken out, punished for being too far out on the map. 3 bases against 4 still, and that Banshee has been taken out. The Mutalisks were flying down to save this base, and this means still 5 bases for Vortix, who would probably be well advised to just use those active creep tumors to spread creep down to that 5th base as well, just to have maybe also a little bit of vision right here. Would probably be quite smart. But there, scan after scan being used by Vortix. He needs to get rid of the creep, he has no other choice. But this also allows the Zerg player to run in over and over again, maybe snipe one of the medivacs, not quite. But it's those scans that he has to use. And more creep tumors coming in. How many creep tumors do we have? 50 creep tumors right now on the map. If you look at the upgrades, we have the 3-3 now started, and there's no infestation pit for Vortix just yet. So he's in this phase right now in the game where the Zerg players and even upgrades wants to go into Hive, and actually he added for a second another layer, cancel it again, and started the infestation pit now. Wants to go into Hive as well. More stims here. One Thor is trying to keep those Mutalisks in check, but the Thor might go down. No, he's being rescued here by the Medivacs. The Medivacs could be attacked right now. Oh my god, Vortix is actually committing a lot here, moving in and taking down a lot of MMA's army already. Most of those Medivacs are down to the rat. He could take them out, but he's going straight for that 3rd base, trying to kill the bunker. The SCVs are already starting to repair. Mules being called down, and the Vikings, the Medivacs are being taken out. The Mutalisks are just going nuts here, trying to take down the Thor as well. The Marines are moving in. Also, we have 2 additional Widow Mines being set up. Widow Mines hit could be absolutely devastating for Vortix, but they don't go off on those Mutalisks. Vortix moving back. He's at 170 supply against 100 for MMA. The +3/+3 not completed for the Terran player, and Vortix really gaining quite the momentum here. Resources lost, even better for the Zerg player. You don't see that all too often, and Vortix really hitting a stride, trying to get that momentum, trying to get into that snowball position where MMA just can't catch up anymore in the army supply. The infestation pit is done. He could go straight into the Hive tech here, doesn't do it just yet, and MMA, the Terran player, going for another command center right now. He lost quite a lot of units. In total, he was able to kill 122 Zerglings already. He lost 86 Marines on the other hand, and 8 in total, 8 Medivacs. That's quite a lot, it's a lot of gas, but the same of course true for the Mutalisks that we see here. Base at the bottom, saturated with the gas mainly, that's what you want as a Zerg player in this situation. We also have another Medivac being shut down immediately, even with the afterburners, it doesn't get fully away. And that's a lot of Mutalisks that can always go in for the hit and run. Hive tech has been started, so +3/+3 will eventually be started for Vortix as well. MMA is about to complete it, and that will give him that timing window that Terran has against Zerg, where they have just this super strong army, fully upgraded with the Medivac support. But this is actually something that MMA is currently lacking, the Medivacs, because he lost so many of them. He only has 3, and 3 are usually not enough. MMA is being attacked once more. We have the Mutalisks moving in, nice save on that Thor for now. The Banelings crushing the Marines here. They are crushing them. We have a few more reinforcements coming in from the main base, but the Thor is already a goner. Another Mutalisk is takes down that Medivac there. Marines are dying everywhere on this map. Bailing, so many of them doing their damage. Vortix still has to be careful since he is down in upgrades, but he's doing a lot of damage to his opponent. In army supply right now, we have 65 against 79. Harvester count is up at 90 for Vortix. He has a really good income. Is currently looking at 2,100. And just look at this minimap. Creep everywhere. How many creep tumors does he have? Right now he has 62 creep tumors. He's going for the adrenal glands and he's spreading creep once again. Getting that +3 attack upgrade, going for armor probably soon as well. But MMA now knows that this is the time to shine, where he can really start to push in and maybe force that creep back finally. On the other hand, we have the Mutalisks trying to go for a counter, taking down one of the refineries, and Vortix adding the Ultralisk Cavern. Ultralisk Cavern for Vortix, as well as the armor upgrades right now. The +3 attack has been started too, and more Mutalisks coming in, clearing the Zalnaga watchtowers now, and of course trying to deny the space over here to MMA, but the Terran player is already in position. He's just waiting for Vortix. He knows exactly what the Zerg player is gonna do. He's like, yeah, of course you're gonna try to contest that fort. You're trying to starve me here, but it's not gonna work. I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna just wait for your army, and if you overcommit, I'm gonna take down your Mutalisk, and you will lose your map control. But more Mutalisks are being built, and we're gonna go up to roughly 25 once again. He lost a fair share of those. 18 Mutalisks in total. But on the other hand, was able to kill a huge amount of army value already for MMA. So really a pretty cool game that we're currently seeing. 20 minutes in, we have both of them just at nearly 200 supply. MMA more in the defender's role, whereas we have Vortix just going in over and over again doing the damage. And it's really funny to see that MMA is struggling to get a foothold in this game. He's really struggling with this. Even though he has the 3-3 upgrades already, he's trying to get that 4th base instead, and he can't really push in. We have once again still creep tumors being set out on the map everywhere, and that gives MMA just such huge amount of troubles because he cannot simply just walk onto creep. That would be suicide. If there's a flank with Zerglings and Banelings and suddenly the Mutalisks sweep in, it's so really difficult to make anything happen. So he needs to skirt the edges of the creep, take down the tumors and try to force it back. Once more Marines caught out on the map. Mutalisks are rushing in. We have 22 of those trying to kill the Medivac, but he gets back to safety. A quick supply block here for Vortix, but look at those upgrades at the top. Chitinous plating is nearly done. Adrenal glands is completed. And we have even a +3 attack upgrade for the Mutalisks now. They have such huge hit and run potential. They can just go in, dish out the damage and move back immediately. No armor upgrades for them started just yet. And Vortix wouldn't be Vortix if he wouldn't start another base at the right side of the map. It's such a close game right now. This is so close for both of them. We currently have 107 army supply against 141. And that's where those workers really come into play, because that's 90 worker supply right there. That's a 30 supply. Oh my god, nice. He sees them and he takes them out. The double medivac that MMA was trying to send over to finally start putting Vortix into the defensive position. But the +3 attack upgrade is now done. The Chitinous plating is done. Armor is about to be done and he's moving in. Those Thors have a really bad day. The Banelings trying to connect with the Marines, but this time Vortix needs to fall back right away. He has too many harvesters. And I don't think he realizes it. 87 versus 59. And now it's time for MMA to move in. Maxed out, he has the better army supply, but Vortix is the one who can max out a little bit faster than his opponent. He's going to lose a base here. He's once again supply blocked. And this is pretty... That was a pretty decent attack by MMA here. He sees a chance, he knows that Vortix overcommitted a little bit, that he lost a lot, and he's moving in immediately. He's like, okay, this is my time. This is when I can finally take down one of his bases and also kill those creep tumors, force them back. By now we still have 49 left, but Vortix is probably not too happy about how this went. He has a lot of Ultralisks right now and tries to make those happen. +1 armor started also for the air units. He's nearly back. He's back to 200 supply, and that currently means that he is on more army supply than MMA. MMA trying to set up another base over here, but it's once more those overlords that are in position. Here come the Ultralisks, forcing a lift on the orbital, but he doesn't want to fight just yet. Doesn't want to fight this army just yet. Bottom left, we have another medivac going in. Not quite sure if Vortix saw it. He sees it on the minimap, but does he really pay attention to it or not? Mutalisks flying in. He wants to deny those bases as fast as he can. And, well, MMA trying to do that damage here. He's doing quite a lot. He has the drop to the bottom left. Keep that in mind. Really nice moves by the Terran player. Down in overall supply and allowing Vortix to remax. Vortix still has that bank, but these units are starting to do some damage. Maybe even taking down one of those macro hatches. Another set of units running in, but it's time for the Ultralisks to start the defense here. Nice snipe on that medivac. Over to the top left. That was trying to take down the Overlord here. He might be able to snipe that command center. Doesn't really look like it, though, with the Marines moving in. He will have to move back. Well, he's going for it. He takes down the command center. He sacrifices 2 Mutalisks. He's like, yeah, worth it. Totally worth it. The drop at the bottom left is still doing damage. That Ultralisk apparently was taken out, and he might lose the Ultralisk cannon. I don't think it's really going to happen. There's not enough damage potential, but saves it for now. Middle of the map, once again, MMA trying to get something done, but he's falling behind in income. He's really falling behind in income and has to reposition another orbital command right now to finally get this base over to the top left. And of course, one of the things that we see for Vortix happening is just more and more upgrades. He's getting that +1 armor upgrade for his Mutalisks right now, and that will give him so much more sustainability in those fights. The Mutalisks are still a very important unit in this composition to shut down drop play, to shut down the exact amount of medivacs that his opponent has. And we can see this also in the units lost. Nearly 300 Zerglings, by the way, but also 14 of those medivacs have been killed. Even with the afterburners that allow them to just move back a little bit more quickly. 29 Mutalisks, on the other hand, taken out by MMA. That's exactly what he wants, what he needs to do there. The army supply once more in favor of the Terran player because of that huge discrepancy in the worker count. And that's something that Vortix needs to realize, needs to be afraid of. What a great fungal onto those medivacs. That was an amazing one. Cannot get up the follow fungal, but the rest hits the bio army, and this allows the Ultralist to close the distance, going in and take down nearly everything that MMA has. A huge amount of units here for Vortix. Immediately remaxing with 76 Zerglings. Needs to fall back with his army for now. Doesn't have another fungal to really protect those units, but the Zerglings will hatch in just a few seconds. Ultralist after Ultralist goes down. Another scan ahead, trying to move in, killing 2 Infestors as well. Maybe even aiming for the Ultralist here. We have another fungal present though. He gets the fungal. He gets the fungal off, and the Zerglings are closing the distance immediately. The Mutalists are going in, taking down number 1, Medivac, number 3, and number 4 as well. The hits with the Widow Mines not good enough to save the day for the Terran player, who drops down to 110 supply. MMA is losing the main bunch of his army here, and he does not have the resources to rebuild it. He's down to nearly 0 minerals. He's building 16 Marines at a time. How is the production queue looking in his main base? That's the main question right now. But the Zerglings are streaming in, trying to deny this base over here, where there are so many mules. That's the main income source for the Terran player as we speak. Mutalist going in once again, chasing down the bio forces here. MMA has a lot of problems at his hands. He's down 100 supply against his opponent. Looking at the barracks here, that's not a lot of Marines that are queued up. MMA therefore really out of minerals. Well, the mules are changing that rapidly, but that's exactly where those Zerglings and also of course the Mutalists are being headed, and a lift immediately. The mules losing their mining time. The Ultralist still blocking the pathway for MMA here. The Terran player down to 92 supply against 190. Vortix still about to complete the +2 armor upgrade for the Mutalist. The Ultralist is running in. Terran player with the last desperate defense, trying to make the planetary work in his favor. 31 kills already, but the Banelings, they detonate, take down the SCVs. The planetary gone. MMA down to 63 supply. GG. MMA loses the game. Vortix clenches out a 2-1 victory against his opponent in the best of 3 in the round of 8 and advances to the semi-final. Congratulations to Mousesports, Vortix. Great job, really well done, and of course a sad moment here for MMA fans.